They all have truth to them, to be honest with you, man. What they're missing is nuance, you know?
Um, Explain
So like
nuance.
if you take something like the red pill, so the red pill is essentially talking about the shadow side of the feminine.
Hmm.
So it's true, like things like hypergamy, all that kind of stuff is true. But what they do is they isolate one variable and then don't include the other variables, right? So like take
Oh,
something,
I see. So it only is one-sided.
right. Take something like hypergamy, right? Hypergamy is a real thing,
Hmm.
but you can have a woman who has a degree of hypergamous nature, and then not factor in the variable that she values um, shared connection and compatibility and her desire to build a family more than any kind of hypergamous nature that may be at play.
I see. I see what you're
Right.
saying.
So let's take about like say you got a person who's into fitness. That person who's into fitness does like eating unhealthy food, but they prioritize fitness over their desire to eat unhealthy food. You see the analogy? So they
Right.
still
Yeah.
like donuts and cakes just as much as anybody else, but they prioritize fitness. I'm gonna make a video on that. That's a great analogy to use. They prioritize
Mm.
fitness over that. And the red pill doesn't account for those additional variables. So then it just makes everybody feel like it's doom and gloom. Something like the black pill, which is essentially stating that looks are all that matter. Like looks
Right.
do matter a lot, but it's not accounting for against the variable that there are other variables that also matter as well, such as vibe, right? Like
Right.
vibe is king. Vibe in terms of attraction, at least on the male's end, vibe trumps everything else. Everything
Mm.
else, right? So looks are
Right.
important. They just make it sound. They take the experience of dating apps and then think that that is a representation for dating as a whole.
Right.
So in a dating app context, the black pill is absolutely true, but it's only true because there's nothing else to go off of. If you're on a dating app, you're prioritizing the looks because that's the only data point you have. In real
I see.
life, a woman may not be super attracted to you physically at first, but then when she experiences your personality and your vibe, it's almost as if you have a beauty filter on. Right? I made a video about this, where you have a woman sometimes she'll get with a guy who isn't that attractive, but
Mm.
she really fucks with him, and then her friends may
Mm.
question her decision. They're like, "Yo, he don't even like. He's not all that," and she can't see what her friends see because she experiences his vibe, right? And then if they were to break up, she'll
Right.
be like, "Yo, I really was tripping. He wasn't all that, right?" Because she was kind of under the spell of the vibe at the time. Does that make sense?
Right. Right.
So it's all of them
That's
have
very
like
interesting.
pieces. All of them have pieces of truth, but none of them capture like the entire big picture. But what were you about to say?
Being time for it. Um, have you ever come across any content or literature that kind of explains that we were saying? To me, I imagine like there would be a book, and it's talking about the black pill,
Okay.
but then like the whole chapter adds in maybe like at the end of each paragraph something else. Um,
The only
that's
thing
what I
that
think that.
top of mind. So, are you referring to the point I just made about like
Yeah,
looks and
exactly.
vibe?
Yeah.
The only thing that comes to mind, bro, is if you read like Dr. David Buss, like his books on evolutionary psychology, primarily like the textbooks. It
Mm.
it elucidates some of the intangible qualities that women value and are attracted to, and why they value and are attracted to it from an evolutionary perspective.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so you
Mm.
take something like there's something called what is it called? What's the technical term for it? Uh,
Survival of the fittest.
it's something copying. I forgot. I was going to Google it real quick, but I'm not going to. It's something copying, but I forgot what the actual technical term for it. But it's the phenomenon that occurs where if women kind of see you around other women, and this isn't across the board, right? But if women see that other women are attracted to you,
Oh
um,
yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
right? So another term for it can be called mimetic desire, which is like if you see two kids and there's one toy, and kid A isn't interested in the toy, but kid B is playing with it, kid A will become interested in it, right? But adults are the same way. It's like the whole keeping up with the Joneses concept. There's a lot of people's desires are really predicated upon what other people desire. So the
Right.
desire is born from witnessing other people desiring it. And seeing other people desire it means that it should be desirable, right? Now again, that doesn't apply to everyone, but it is a phenomenon that does occur, right? So
Right.
just being aware of these things, you can kind of leverage them in your favor.
What was that? You said Dr. What again?
Dr. David Buss, he's like kind of the lead guy on evolutionary psychology.
Okay. BUS?
Yeah, BUSS.
Oh, BUS. That's cool.
Right, right. Yeah.
How would you take him as compared to Freud, or like, I don't know. What do you think about Sigmund Freud?
I mean, he's cool, but I'm more like a Carl Jung guy, you
Oh, I
know,
see.
learning about like the different archetypes, things of that nature.
Right.
I think reading Jung will kind of give you a better understanding of like masculinity and femininity and what kind of
Oh, I see.
archetypes you fall into. A good book on that for masculine development is a book called King, Warrior, Magician, Lover. It's like the four main archetypes for masculinity, the goal being to integrate them all. So the king archetype is someone who's very orderly, structured, right? Leadership, right? The warrior is someone who may be a bit ambitious and aggressive. The lover archetype is someone who may be popular, good with the opposite sex, but also winning people over in general. And the magician is someone who is highly competent at something, right? So the goal is to integrate all of those qualities so that you're more dynamic. Because dynamic men are very attractive to the opposite sex. Meaning, if you can't be easily placed in a box,
Mhm.
so say for instance, you're like a guy who's really into martial arts, but you're also a nerd, and you're also someone who's into nature and is a gardener, right? It's like to a woman, it's like, what the fuck do I place you?
Mm,
You become very compelling,
let's see. Um, so I have a little question.
right?
Heard this concept of where women value or they really like men who have a lot of experience, just experience, period. Um, and as a man, I guess if you have more experience, you're more attractable, you're more viable. It makes a woman more comfortable, I guess, providing, protecting. What do you think about that sort of idea?
When you say experience, what are you referencing?
Life experience.
Yeah, for sure, right? Because one thing that a lot of women want that they it's hard for them to find is a man who they can admire,
Mm,
right? So someone who, like, I have one of my mods, a friend of mine, she is a highly competent woman. Like, she's just very competent. And she admires competence, but one of the things that holds her back from connection is that it's rare for her to come across a man who she can admire in that way. Because she tends to be more competent than they are, right? So when you have a lot of experience, you kind of,
compliment.
yeah, it gives them something to kind of look up to in a sense.
Right, I could see that because maybe like in the sphere of feminism or like maybe a hyper feminine woman or a feminine woman that just like dominates finances and maybe the male is not making as much.
Hmm.
It's kind of like a psychological effect to where there's like a social imbalance somewhere, and it's kind of like, oh well, if the man is, I don't know, a leader somehow,
Hmm.
um,
Yeah, I'm glad you
he's
said that word somehow because even if we look at finances, that's just a signal for competence, right?
right,
But
right,
even when I was broke, I dated women who was more financially successful than me because of like the experience of me. The same way I talk to y'all on this live is the same type of conversations I would have with them. So they would be like, yeah, there's other qualities that you have that make up for that,
right.
right?
Like adding to the human experience, basically.
Right. That's why it's important to be dynamic because any quality that you may be lacking is accounted for elsewhere.
Mm. Do you think that experience, I guess, should be or ought to be, or is more best like in one own self? Like, if, for example, I mean, I kind of used to go around my life
Uh-huh.
thinking, oh, I'm going to get a bunch of experience and all of a sudden a girl's going to like me. I don't think it didn't really work out that way for me,
Yeah,
but
yeah. Because you're isolating one variable. You don't want to isolate one variable. Remember, if you were to isolate just one variable, the vibe is the variable to isolate. The vibe is king. Because a lot of women are feeling focused, right? So they're pretty much judging who they deal with based like you have to ignore the list of qualities that a lot of them list out. That's more them thinking idealistically. Like I tell men, one thing that would give men a lot of peace if we could hypothetically accomplish is if you could just magically see all the men that the women you're interested in have dealt with. You would never doubt yourself again. I promise you.
I was looking
You would
glass. Yeah, I
never
like that.
you would never doubt yourself again. You'd be like, oh shit, him? Yeah, okay. I'm good. Right? I
Right.
promise you. Even those
That
beautiful
makes
ones that you
sense.
could think of, if you could just magically see
Right.
all of them, there are gonna be some good guys in there too, like some great accomplished. But there's also gonna be some motherfuckers who you would never expect, and it's just the experience of that person just did it for them. So the vibe is going to be the king, the experience of you, the feeling that you can create when you're engaging, and it's easier to create that feeling when you're very dynamic. So there's like
Oh, yeah.
women that I've dated, there's like women who bring out different sides in me because there's so many sides to bring out, right? I've dated women who are more intellectually stimulating and they get more of the intellectual side. And I've dated women where they just have a good time and they get more of the comedic side of me, right? But there's just
Oh, I see.
multiple sides that I can access and it really just depends on the situation that I find myself
Hmm. I see.
in.
So, given that, I guess my theory is I kind of take the a white pill.
Hmm.
I guess saying kind of like if you work on yourself and kind of build all the colors, then you become like what you're saying, dynamic.
Hmm.
And in that you try, well, at least I try not to focus on any one thing.
Right.
Um, and then adding the spiritual side to it. How do you, or have you read any content or literature on more specifically the white pill?
That's the
I
one
guess it's more
that's
optimistic.
yeah, that's the one that's more optimistic. If I had to choose one,
Yeah.
I'm less like knowledgeable on that because it's not one that many people talk about. Obviously, people tend to focus on the
Right.
negative aspects of things. But yeah,
Right.
I think that optimists win ultimately, right? Because a lot of what holds people back is simply their mindset. It's such a limiter, right? There's a good book on this called The Growth Mindset. It's a real easy read, but it talks about how people have a growth mindset and a fixed mindset. And depending on what mindset they have, kind of predicts their life experience. And you can have a growth mindset in one domain of life and then a fixed mindset in another domain of life. Take someone who's like sick, right? They may think that their sickness or illness holds them back, and maybe it does. But if you look at someone like Teddy Roosevelt, he was like a very sickly kid. And he just kept putting himself in situations that kind of forced his body to get stronger. And then he became the president that was out here like wrestling people, going hunting, doing like big game hunting, all that kind of stuff. A lot of life is a mindset game, man. So even if the optimistic path isn't totally true, it is still good to believe it's true because then you maximize what is possible.
What is right? He maximizes potential.
Right.
That blows my mind. That's that's crazy. It's like, I think I can. I know I can. I will. I can.
Right. Exactly. Was it saying like whether you think you can or you can't, you're right? It's that philosophy.
Right. And it dictates, well, predominantly your behavior because it's kind of
Right.
like if I'm swimming, if I could trick myself that there's a shark after me, voila.
Right. This is why I tell men like one of the secret hacks when it comes to like being flirtatious with women is just to assume she already likes you. You may be wrong, right? And you should read the situation and adapt accordingly. But
You'll
I,
become better at flirting,
exactly, because I
basically.
tell guys, I'm like, don't when you already know a woman likes you, don't you like have a better conversation, a better interaction? Because you're not nervous, you're at peace, you're authentically expressing yourself because you know she's already into you. So in other words, when you know she likes you, your behavior is more attractive. So let's access that behavior before you even have clarity around that by just assuming it's the case.
Mm, I see. What do you think about late bloomers, male late bloomers?
I think they have an advantage. The guys I know who are like really good with this stuff, like people don't understand, like success with women or being
Mm.
attractive to women is such a motivator for men that
Oh,
if you get that experience too early, it kind of like some of the biggest losers I know were the ones who were able to be super attractive early in life.
well, I mean, I mean,
It's just
I get what you're. I get what you're
it's an
saying.
incentive conversation, right? So like if we're saying that we're doing all of like the we have the argument that the red pill makes like that men built the world, right? It's true.
Mm.
It's definitely true, right? We did all the hard jobs and all that kind of stuff, right? But
Yeah.
women contributed in a different way historically. And one of the primary ways they contributed is that the world was built for them. Guys did all this shit most of the time for the opposite sex, right? Because the
Right.
women played more like the muse role, the inspiration
Mm-hmm.
behind the achievement. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so um, guys who can easily access that tend to not reach their potential because why would they? There's no need to.
Necessity is the mother of invention. Is basically what you're saying.
Exactly. Eloquent way to sum that up. Yes.
So you're saying somehow, in any way, shape, or form, because they're a late bloomer, they're incentivized forcefully to do something rather than a person who's, maybe 18, right at high school, making bachelor's degree money. The incentive is a little bit different.
Right. There's no real reason for them to push because they get access to what other men are trying to be successful to access. That's pretty much how it works. It's a bit of an oversimplification, but it's directionally accurate.
Um, do you think, well, if that's true, then wouldn't that mean late bloomers would eventually statistically have to become wealthy, like just across history
No, I
and
think
time?
that one of the benefits of being a late bloomer is you're more like you have more a higher degree of self awareness. So like the people who get that young, they just kind of fall into that pattern, that cycle before they hit self awareness, and they kind of get like capped at a lower level. So late bloomers have the benefit of like hitting their stride when they can move with a bit more intention and have a bit more self awareness.
Can you give an example of a person, like, I don't know, Warren Buffett, or I can't really think of a late bloomer, but
A late bloomer who has done that. I mean, I'm a great example, right? I was a late bloomer. So more like internally. So like women always found me to be attractive. I just had self esteem, lower self esteem where I couldn't even see it. Right. I remember being in high school my freshman year, and like a lot of senior girls would talk to me, and I just thought they were being nice. I was like, because
oh, I see what you're saying.
it wouldn't even
Yeah,
land that they were attracted because I didn't even consider that to be a possibility. It wasn't even a possible reality. So I'm
I
like,
see what you're
okay,
saying.
well then they must just be engaged because these are nice women. When really they just were attracted to me. So
Oh, I see what you're saying. I
yeah,
do.
yeah, yeah. So I hit my stride on the back end.
I see. I mean, it's like, because like, maybe let's say if you research any mainstream actress like Stallone, or any of them, and look at their dynamic in high school, is different. I mean, I've seen a social media picture on my feed where it has Arnold
Mm-hmm.
next to a person who was exactly the same age at 18,
Mm-hmm.
and the guy was 12, and Arnold looks like 30,
Right.
but they're both 16. That's that's crazy. So
Right.
yeah, I can see what you mean by that.
Mm-hmm.
Most definitely.
Yep. A lot of late bloomers also have a chip on their shoulder, so they tend to like really dial in. oftentimes to make up for lost time, but that's a different
Yeah.
conversation. But yeah, there's a there's pros and cons to every situation you find yourself in life, late bloomer included.
I see. It's just what life is.
Hmm. Yeah, I would rather personally experience success on the back end than the front end.
Mm. So how would you think about, let's say, relationships that are kind of seasoned, basically, like 10, 15, 20-year relationships, whether they're married or not?
What about them?
Like, I don't know, what would your advice be to that, or your take on that?
I need like a specific thing to focus my brain on when you ask that question. So like my take on what? It's like 100
So,
different directions we can go in with that.
so I guess let's take modern dating. In modern dating, typically older relationships are statistically a lot less than, let's say, the baby boomer area. Um, it's very common, like two people right out of high school or even just met, high school sweethearts,
Mm-hmm.
randomly met, and all of a sudden they've been together for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's very rare that you'll see that post boomer era.
Okay.
I think some would argue even because of social media and because of, the war. Um, Basically, what's your take on how to be seasons in a relationship for at least 20-year plus?
So how to get there or how to navigate that situation when you're in it?
Both.
Okay. How to get there. So one thing that messes people up, there's so many ways I can answer this question.
Mm.
So I always say that one of the biggest mistakes that's made is that people just choose the wrong person to begin with. Right? People choose the wrong person to begin with. I'll break it down like this. So, just to piggyback off that, but I have more to say to answer your question more fully.
Right, absolutely.
My coach has a framework called the 5 tiers of women, but it also applies to men. And the 5 tiers are subjective, so it's not a judgment on the woman herself. It is a judgment on the connection you have with this particular woman. So, for example, a tier 3 woman to me can be a tier 2 woman for you. So, like a
Okay.
tier 5 woman is just someone you're physically attracted to. A tier 4 woman is someone you're physically attracted to and you kind of like their persona. A tier 3 woman is a woman you're physically attracted to and you really like their persona, right? So that's more like fling territory, right? So you go on a cruise, you go on a vacation, you find a tier 3 woman, persona being like the mask they wear when you first meet somebody, right? You don't really see that real person yet, but y'all fuck with each other's masks. Okay.
Right.
A tier 2 woman is a woman where physically attractive, you like their persona, and you see glimpses of who they really are, but both parties hold back because they perceive they may be judged by the other side. And then a tier 1 woman is a woman you can really love because it's like she could be her total self with you and you could be your total self with her. Now, from my coach's perspective, most relationships and marriages are tier 2. Why? He calls that the danger zone. It's the danger zone because when people encounter a tier 2 connection, they compare it to tier 3, 4, and 5. So they think they've hit jackpot,
Mm.
not being aware that a tier 1 connection exists. In other words, they get with someone they're not really compatible with, right? So that's the primary reason why a lot of people end up in bad relationships or bad marriages, right? When it comes from a selection perspective. In terms
But
of
what?
being in terms of being with someone, like making it that long with somebody, um, a lot of people just don't have the skill sets necessary. We're in a different phase now where historically we had external influences that encouraged people to stay together. One being
Right.
women
Marriage
weren't able
laws,
to
stuff
take
like that.
yeah, women weren't able to take care of themselves, right?
Right.
So they were incentivized to stay in the connection. Like they couldn't make it out themselves, right? You had the church that was a big influence, right? You had more of a community focus. So there were, your parents and other people in the community were like shame you if you got divorced or something like that. But in today's time, a lot of those external influences have gone away. The church has less influence. society at large is actively encouraging people not to be together. You look at music, you look at movies, you look at social
Right.
media. All the messaging is encouraging people to break up and be single and to just fuck a lot, essentially, right?
Right. Pickup culture.
Right. So all the NPCs go wherever whatever the culture dictates is the in vogue. And that's most people, NPC type thinking, right? No self awareness, just looking outside themselves, seeing what's in vogue, and then just defaulting to that. They just
Right.
copy and paste the culture, right? So nowadays, the only way to really be together is to make a conscious choice to be together and to cultivate the skill sets that would map to that outcome, which has never been true in all of human history. So now you
Wow.
have to have the skills. That's a good question. I never articulated it that way. Now you have to have the skills. Previously, the skills were optional because you had external
Right.
influences that made up for the lack of skill to stay
Yeah. All
together.
right.
Now
Like.
you don't have those external influences. Now you have to
Right.
have the skill set and choose well, so that you
Oh
can make
shit.
it.
That's crazy.
Hmm. So growth is not
pretty cool. I
optional.
like that.
Personal growth and personal development is not
It's
optimal.
not right.
It's not optional these days. It's not. It used to be optional. You could be a shitty person with another person who may or may not be shitty, and y'all would still stay together because you're not trying to deal with the issues from other people judging you and the shame that comes with it. Right. Nowadays, it's not optional. If you want to be together, you're going to have to learn this shit that I'm talking about.
That's crazy. More so than ever, I would agree so. Because like you were saying, if a woman can't own property and she can't vote, then it's like, well, women's forced to rely on a man.
Hmm. Right. 100%. And them being forced to do so cap the growth of men because like I don't need to do this.
Do you think so though? I mean, do you think a lot of men are not striving that high?
Well, growth in terms of internally. So most people focus on growth as being external achievements. You've
Right,
always
right.
accomplished that. I'm talking about internal growth. So like integrating your feminine, being increasing emotional intelligence, emotional awareness, while preserving your masculinity and still being rooted in your masculinity. That type of growth, psychological growth.
Okay. It's like, oh, okay, psychological growth.
Psychological
So
growth
you're
is
saying that
necessary.
would be less because it's a less necessity.
Right, like you said, necessity is the mother of all invention, right? Or all progress. Invention is another word of progress. So necessity is needed for progress to be made. So if there was no need for men to become more emotionally intelligent and to do these things, then they're not going to do it.
And then
But
I'm gonna do
nowadays,
it.
that's needed. It's required, right? And women have their own version of that they have to kind of dig into. So both parties are forced to kind of grow in different ways.
Right. Do you think that when two people find that out, um, I don't know, how would you analyze that? Like, would you say that both people would just give up, or they would be like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna go read a book about relationships because I'm actively with this person, and apparently we had an argument or a fight or something, or we disagree on something." Do you think today people would put in the work or just give up?
I think one of the main things holding people back, this has always been true, is people do not want to do anything that makes them uncomfortable. They think that if they're uncomfortable, that means something is wrong.
Mm,
And relationships, my worldview is that relationships primarily serve the function of psychological growth. From a Christian perspective, it serves the function of you furthering the kingdom of God, right? It has nothing to do with your happiness. Doesn't mean you shouldn't have happiness within the relationship. It's just not the purpose. And having happiness be the foundation of why you're with somebody, it is doomed to fail because happiness
right. Nobody
is
says it's going to be successful.
a fleeting emotion.
Right.
It's not a default setting. So you're guaranteed to be unhappy with the person that you're with in some season, likely multiple seasons. But if you're viewing
Right.
that as a sign to leave, then you're just going to constantly have your track shoes on, right? Because you're going to leave everyone that you're with eventually. But if you view it as psychological growth, then any issues you face is just the next challenge to grow through. So a lot of
That's
it,
you're right, right.
yeah,
That's a trip.
a lot of this is a perspective problem.
You're you're right. I would very much agree.
Mhm.
Very much.
But I do got a line building up, brother. You definitely come
Okay.
back and ask some more questions. I go live daily. I don't know if you're new here at noon
All
and 9 p.m.
right.
Eastern time, but I enjoy this conversation. Definitely come back and ask more, all right?
All right. I will.
All right, brother.
Thanks, good.
CJ, I saw your comment. Yeah, he outdid Sale with the questions. I like when people ask me different questions because I get to talk about shit I haven't been able to talk about. But yeah, we could have got a lot deeper on those topics. So hopefully he comes back and asks more. And other people ask questions similar to what he was asking instead of why isn't he testing me back? Hate those questions. Hello.
Hi, Market. How are you?
Great, man. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for your work. Sorry if my accent is not. I'm not fully bilingual in French,
You're good,
in
brother.
English. My question is the MBTI about the MBTI types. Do you think for someone who's trying to learn about himself, it's a reliable frame to work with?
The
The
Myers,
MBTI types.
so
Yes,
the Myers-Briggs type indicator?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't suggest that people take the quiz though. I'm kind of fundamentally against online quizzes because the limiting factor there is how much self-awareness you have. A lot of people tend to answer those questions by how they would like to be instead of how they are, right? So what I always suggested for people who are doing any kind of psychographic test is to just read all of the descriptions and then just pick the one that resonates the most. Like when I took the
Okay.
test, I was like INTJ, that type of shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm really an ENTP. But it is basically showing you your cognition, like how you think. So it's not the totality of who you are, it's just the process that your brain goes through. So a super hack when you have clarity on what your Myers-Briggs type is to read biographies of people who share the same type. So for me, being an ENTP, reading about Benjamin Franklin or Leonardo da Vinci, right? There's even like fictional characters like Rick from Rick and Morty who are ENTPs or Sherlock Holmes, right? You read biographies of people like that because if they think the way you think, then it can be a sneak peek into the challenges that you may face, the weaknesses you may have, and the pathway to overcome it and to maximize your potential.
Okay. I noticed that it focuses sometimes on being introvert or extrovert to start with
Right.
at the beginning. And you say, for example, I may be mistaken, but you say you are, for example, an ENTP, but I would have think that you are an I, because I would think that you would be an introvert because of the thinking or the ability to think the inner self. So this difference about introvert and extrovert, sometimes it's there's a gray area. How
There
do
is.
you know, for example, I am an introvert or I am an extrovert?
Are you asking me if I think you're an introvert or extrovert?
Yes.
I
How
mean,
do you?
I wouldn't know, brother, to be honest. I mean, you kind of give introverted vibes, but remember, introversion is just like two things. One of my favorite mental models is the map is not the territory. Meaning, if I were to give you a map of, I don't know, California, it will help you navigate California. But if you actually went to California, you would see that the map doesn't account for every nuance. So, in other words, there is no map of reality that accurately captures all of reality.
Yes.
So, the Myers Briggs indicator is a map.
Okay.
Therefore, it's not going to capture every nuance of reality, every nuance of who you are. There's a lot of debate upon like introversion and extroversion, right? So it may not be accurate with everything, but it is helpful enough. It has enough utility to help you navigate as would a map, right?
Okay.
So
So
that's the first thing. Second thing is, hold on, it's lagging.
No, I can hear you.
You can hear me? Okay. It's
Yeah.
probably lagging for them because of the call. So let me end this call, brother, and just call back in and we'll finish the
Okay, sounds
conversation.
good. Okay, thank you.
Is it still frozen, chat? Are we still frozen? Is it still frozen? Yay or nay? I need someone in the chat to let me know. It's back? Okay. It was TikTok. It wasn't because the caller could hear everything I was saying. So I told him to call back in to finish the question. I was dropping some gems on him though. I'm mad it froze right then. Motherfucker was going off. Hello.
Yes.
Okay.
Hello.
So as I was saying, the map is not the territory. So what I just tell you, buddy? Chance, you cannot do that, buddy, when I'm on live. All right, go back there. All right. I literally just had a conversation with my nephew when I'm doing something not to interrupt me. You know what he came in here for? He wanted me to zip up his Spider-Man suit. He wanted me to zip up his Spider-Man suit. Oh boy. Anyway, so
Yeah.
as I was saying, the map is not the territory. So if I were to give you a map of California, you actually were to go to California, you would see that the map does not account for every nuance of California, right? So there is no map that exists that accurately captures all of reality. So the Myers-Briggs type indicator is a map. So it's not going to account for every single nuance. But it does have enough utility to help you navigate reality, all right? So there's a lot of like debate between like introversion. Are you flushing the toilet, brother?
Sorry, no, it's let me mute myself.
All right. I was about to say you fucked that toilet up. Had that
No,
Chipotle.
it's my it's the sink of my in my kitchen. It's yeah, someone has to come by and fix it.
I got you.
Yeah, please
Yeah.
continue. Sorry.
ASAP. Fix that ASAP. 'Cause I thought you had Taco Bell last night, my man. Anyway,
No.
so there's a lot of debate between like introversion and extroversion. My understanding of it is just the way that you charge up. You charge energy, charge your batteries. So like someone could be introverted and still highly social. Someone could be extroverted and still be introspective, right? But there's debate on that.
You say someone how he charges his battery, for example, after when he's tired or after at some specific one.
Yeah, their energy. So introverts typically recharge their batteries in solitude, whereas extroverts, especially people who are severely extroverted, they'll charge their batteries and by socializing and talking to people. Meaning the same feeling of being drained and in a low mood that an introvert may encounter when they socialize too much is the same feeling that an extrovert will access if they're isolated too much, right? And then it's also a spectrum as well.
Yes. Okay, perfect. Thank you. I don't want to take more of your time. Thank you so much. I'm going down.
Appreciate the question, brother.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, some interesting questions today. I like it. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
So yeah, I was wondering if you could give me some perspective on the situation. So basically, me and this person were talking for like about a month and a half, and they out of nowhere was like trying to say, "Oh, by the way, would you be insecure if I was talking to other people?" Like they brought up the conversation of like, what if we're talking to other people? And it kind of came out of nowhere. Like I felt like we were going at a really good pace. And then it was like, "Oh, by the way, if someone told you I was talking to someone, how would you react?" It's like, he was saying something like, "Oh, wouldn't it be crazy to like be exclusive like after a month and a half?" And I don't know, just the conversation itself rubbed me the wrong way. And so we had that conversation. I was like, okay, now that I know where you stand, like I'm gonna see some other people, blah blah blah. And so I started seeing other people, and I made it kind of obvious because I made our calls shorter. I wasn't really I was being vague about what my plans to hang out with someone were.
Mm-hmm.
And so he would jokingly say stuff like, oh, it's because you're hanging out with that other. And he said it so much that I'm like, you're the one who brought up wanting to be open and talk to other people, and you're always like asking me things. And like he even went through my following and said, by the way, it's like a red flag that you follow so many guys. So like I'm confused because I'm like, you want to be open, but the minute you find out I'm getting male attention, you're like low-key bothered by it, but you don't want to say it, you know?
Right.
So I'm just like, I'm confused because even right now, like, I kind of admitted that I went on a date and I haven't heard from him in 6 days. And I'm like, you were the one who said, isn't it crazy if we were exclusive within a month and a half? You're the one who brought up the conversation when things were going well.
Right.
I was the one who was more so like, oh, I like where this is going, and I'm the type of person where I don't like a roster.
Right.
So I even told him, when I'm keen on someone, I give them my attention. I'm not loyal, like we're not married, but like I want to know the person fully and give them a full chance.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't feel like I can do that while spreading out my energy amongst others.
Right.
And he basically told me, yeah, like I'm not the same way. Like I feel like loyalty is owed when family gets involved, when there's talks of marriage, when there's like real commitment going on. That's when I'm the most closed off. But he said anything before that point was like free game.
Right.
And so
what's your goal? Is your goal like a relationship?
My goal is eventually, a committed relationship.
Okay. So how did you meet this person?
So we've met. They were on a vacation in my city. And so ever since that time, we've only seen each other 3 times, but it's been a month and a half. So,
Okay.
And they live a 10-hour drive away. So I don't expect them to come here a lot, but
Right.
yeah.
And your question is, why is he feeling this way?
Yeah, I just want to know, like, what's a man's headspace when they're saying, "Oh, I want to be." It'd be crazy to be locked in right now, and then later on, be clearly bothered that I'm doing the exact thing that our conversation was about.
So he basically said that he wanted to still see other people?
Yeah, like
Okay.
basically, yeah.
Okay. This is like textbook, right? It's kind of like the situation where a guy may want to open up the relationship and then he struggles to attract other women, but then the woman who he's with is just hopping on different meat every single night, right? And he gets mad about it. It made sense hypothetically. Also, he was thinking about this from a one-sided perspective. What he was really saying is not that we should see other people. What he was saying is I should see other people. So he was focused on his experience without accounting for the fact that you would have your own experience, because he may have perceived you to be really into him, which would make sense given your history and a preference for dealing with one person at a time. So you probably subcommunicated via your behavior or words that you were really into him, right?
Yeah.
So he's probably thinking like, we should see other people. She's just going to be stuck on me because she already is. And then I'm going to go out here and have a good time. And then he had his rude awakening, which is like, oh, she actually is doing that. So now he's trying to do a different strategy where he's not reneging on what he said, but he's trying to shame you for seeing other people so that he can protect that dynamic. And that dynamic being him dealing with other people, but then you being focused exclusively on him.
You know what? I peeped that he was trying to shame me because the whole comment about, oh, you follow a lot of men and that's a red flag for a woman in general, that threw me off. He told me, like, if you want to commit a relationship, the guy who's into you is going to go through your following. And I was like, is this a preference you have that you're trying to push on me, or is this a general man red flag? Like, why are you trying to act like you're giving me unbiased advice right now about what a committed man is looking for?
Right. Yeah, he's trying to shame you.
Yeah.
He's definitely trying to shame you. So, I mean, this relationship isn't going to work. I can tell you that. I'm going to tell you that right now. So if you want a relationship, you're wasting your time with this one. But yeah, that's exactly what's going on.
There's no coming back from this.
Well, no, this is just revealing the type of person that he is, right? Best case scenario, he's manipulative. Worst case scenario, he has an inability to see things from another person's perspective, which is why this request was made to begin with, because he didn't account for your perspective. So that is going to be the reason for a lot of different issues. That same mechanism can manifest in 100 different ways problematically within the relationship. Just imagine how many problems can be created from someone who cannot see the other person's perspective.
Yeah.
That's a requirement.
I don't think I can change a 28-year-old man anyway. I think that's just the way he is. But it was unfortunate. But thank you for that perspective. I definitely had an inkling he was trying to shame me or just make me feel weird about the way I was moving, even though he initiated all of it.
Absolutely, love. Best luck to you, all right?
Yeah, you too.
All right, bye. How old is she? I don't know. She said he was 28, so I'm assuming she's around the same age. People are still commenting on that video. I made a video talking about how like casual connections tend to not stay casual for long, and how women are kind of wired to emotionally bond with the man that they sleep with. And you'll be surprised how many women are in that video defending their right to be bops. Not their right, but like, no, this is natural. No, it's not. You fucked your system up due to all the fucking you've been doing. All right, who we got next? Elizabeth. Elizabeth, you gotta unmute yourself. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you too?
I'm good. What can I do for you?
Thank God.
Good. What can I do for you?
I saw the post.
I know you did. I know. Your name is not Elizabeth either, by the way. No way that's your name. No fucking way you're an Elizabeth. Anywho, if you have a question pertaining to dating or relationships, you can hit the button at the bottom of the screen with the blue and pink person. I will bring you up and solve your issue. Maj, let's do some research on anyone who wants to volunteer for it. For the signals that boost the live. TikTok told me it was comments. I don't think it is quite that simple. So let's try to look into that. We've experimented with likes before. I don't know how important likes are. Let's get those likes up, if you will, though. Let's try to get to 20K. But I don't think it's that simple for likes. I don't think it's that simple. You're absolutely right. Right. Like, it was amazing to me that people were like that video's old for one, and they're still in the comments debating it. Like, people are not a monolith. Biology is a monolith, love. What are you talking about? For example, we all have to breathe. Find me a person who doesn't have to do that. We're not talking about your interest. We're talking about how you're wired biochemically. What are we talking about? I'll work on to get back to you. Appreciate you, D Money. Appreciate you. What's up, You Go Girl Fitness? Appreciate the likes, people. Okay, what other kind of questions do we have? Remember, you can hit the button at the bottom of the screen with the blue and pink person. I will bring you up. You can also drop your question in the chat, and I will answer it there if we do not have an active caller. But I would advise, personally, for you to call in. That's when you get the best answers to your questions. Also on speed dating, I got one this Saturday. I mean, you can do speed dating, bro. I'm gonna tell you though, a lot of people who go to speed dating are admitting a problem. And that problem is, for whatever reason, they aren't finding what they're looking for. Or they're not being chosen at all. So, don't go there expecting the cream of the crop. Right? Oftentimes it is a clearance rack, much like dating apps. I would say speed dating is more of a clearance rack than dating apps are. For sure. Well, that's what you want. You won't catch me dead at any speed dating event, but if that's what you want to do, definitely do it. Exceptions exist. Exceptions do exist. There are some people who go there just to do something, right? Exceptions absolutely exist. But the exceptions exist more on the woman side, not the male side. You're not finding no man, no top tier man, no speed dating event. I can assure you that. But you can find the occasional woman in a speed dating event like that. You can definitely do it. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. The amount of pregnant women I've seen on dating apps is crazy. I've seen one or two when I was on dating apps. It wasn't a lot though, but that is outrageous. Did get a lot of DMs, people trying to make me their third. I know a lot of women go through that. Quite annoying. Quite annoying. You'll talk to a chick for like a day or two. She'll like, by the way, I'm married. Would love for you to join us. Hey, how about no? How about no, actually? Especially considering that you can put that on your profile. That's the type of shit you into. Luckily, the men open with a third request. I didn't know this was an option. Is that what you're trying? Is that what you're into, Typo? We saw you across the room and liked your vibe. It hasn't happened to me in person. That's more like a woman thing or like a super duper attractive man thing, I guess. But I know that happens to women a lot. I've dated women who are like, yeah, they just come up to me and ask me that shit. I'm like, interesting. The husband invited me. That's a rookie mistake. Normally you got to get the woman to do it. Well, married men and men in relationships are on the apps. I would say a woman being pregnant is worse than a married, personally. Because at least then you can understand why a married man is on the app. You can understand why a man in a relationship is on the app. I can't, for the life of me, understand why a pregnant woman will be on the app. It don't make no type of sense. It don't make, you have zero shame. You have zero shame. Like, why would you even think somebody would even entertain that? You know what I mean? We had a woman call in a while ago who was actively pregnant and was dating a guy. I remember that. I want to say she was pregnant with twins and was dating a guy who was like helping her through her pregnancy. And I was like, listen, run from that motherfucker. I don't know what he got going on, but that's weird. You're not going to enjoy whatever comes from this relationship. That's a very weird desire to have. Damn near fetish territory. I was like, is he trying to sleep with you? No, he's not trying to sleep with me at all. I'm like, yeah, that's weird. She was like, but he did lose. I think he lost a child in the past. I'm like, but that makes it make a little bit more sense. But this is still very weird though, love. You might wake up and one of the kids is missing. High-speed police chase. Honda Civic. Crossing the border. You don't want those type of problems. You don't want those type of problems. Yuck. I wouldn't do it. And the Nissan Altima, right? He recently lost a kid too, right? Right. When she said that, I was okay. Now it kind of makes sense. He's trying to replace that loss. Kind of makes sense. But still, little off if you ask me. Little off on both parties, to be honest. Both parties. Ladies, would y'all ever date a new man while pregnant? Let me know in the chat so I can block you. Sounds like a bigger problem once baby is here. Right. I would agree. Has anyone tried to go on another account for 2 dilemmas? You can definitely call back in. That's fine. Shantaka said, hell no. If I'm pregnant, I'm married. I think that's the best approach for sure. That's a new phenomenon that's occurring though, is people like intentionally having kids out of wedlock. That shit blows my mind. We are in a race to the bottom for sure. I get it being an accident. I do not get both parties discussing it and then intentionally doing it. Batshit crazy. Batshit crazy. What are we talking about? We had a woman call in recently who, a lot of people, Nicole, I had a few callers who will casually, they're not even calling about that. They're calling about a different issue and they casually mention that. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Why is this not obviously a problem? Child is a bigger commitment than marriage. I would agree with that. It's happened multiple times. I'm like, I don't even think, I can't give you advice because you're not even seeing this as a problem means you're so low on the totem pole of development that whatever I tell you is, it's just gonna do just like that. Ain't even gonna graze your head. It's so far over your head, it might as well be a fucking airplane. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's not gonna work out. I have adult children, not going back for any man. How old are your children? Hello. Definitely gotta go. She at the market. What's up, Cass? 20 and 28? Yeah, go ahead and tap on out. Go ahead and tap on out. 2028. No way you trying to go through that again. I get it. For sure. Also, people looking to go on the cruise. Dates are February 1st through the 6th. I would recommend getting there early, like a day or two early, so we can hit up Mardi Gras in New Orleans. We will be on the Carnival Valor. Older ship. I know. But that is the cruise ship we will be occupying. So if you're interested, I just want to get a head count. Just know who's interested. DM me or Danny so I can kind of see who to expect to pop out. Again, dates are February 1st through the 6th. Hitting up Mexico. What are the places in Mexico we're going to, Danny? I've been good, Cass. How are you? You coming to the cruise? Go ahead and fly from Australia. Take that 48-hour flight and then pop out to the cruise. So what Danny just said, I'm not going to try to pronounce it. Yucatan, I can pronounce that. Cozumel? Cozumel? I don't know. I have no fucking idea. A lot of people ask me about ages. I don't care what your age is, as long as you're legal. 21 on up, I guess. Cass, why can't you come? What is the blocker? Have you been to America, Cass? Cozumel? Cozumel. Thank you. Money? Can't help with that one, unfortunately. I'll help you get a simp. How about that? I'm going to help you get a simp who will pay your way to America so that you can go on the cruise. How about that? Deal? Is that a deal? Make that too. The offer is just for cash. Jason Barrett, you got your coins. You got your coins. But yeah, if you're interested in coming, just message me or Danny so I know who is coming. I'm low-key scared to come to the U.S., but I really want to. What are you scared to come to the U.S. for? I give toxic dating advice to get your get back. Gotcha. I know all that toxic shit. I just never share it because trying to help people heal, you know. But the knowledge is, it's up here. It's definitely up there. Hello. Hello. I don't know if the whole country is messy as fuck. I mean, you can't really judge until you come here, Cass. You can't trust the Australian government and what they may say about the U.S. You know, it's different. Lux got that Shiv syndrome. Yeah, Lux has requested 2 or 3 times per live. Again, if you have a question pertaining to dating and ignore that, CJ. Dating and relationships, just hit the button at the bottom of the screen with the blue and pink person. I will bring you up and solve your issue. You can also drop your question in the chat and I will answer it there if we do not have an active caller. I'm scared to go to Australia. They got them big ass spiders, man. Fat ass spiders. Hell no. I'm good on that. Damn, Peter Parker's over there. Guys, that's a misconception. So you see how I just made that misconception about you, Cass? Because that's what we're told about Australia here in America. It's the same conclusion you're coming to based on inaccurate information. You see, you just pop out. I don't know if I could do the flight. I couldn't do the flight to, I don't know what the fuck are you talking about? To Australia. Absolutely not. I would never go because of the flight. You worry about America being unsafe? You're going to be on the Carnival cruise, love. That's the safest place you can be. A Carnival cruise? Super safe. Where you going, Shiv? Flying 18 hours is crazy. There will be places in the world I would never. Super safe is hilarious. There's definitely places on the planet I would never go due to how long the flight is. You going to India? Nice. Nice, nice, nice. So you go for fitness, you're coming to the cruise? I gotta also make an offer for my Instagram audience as well. There was some woman I was talking to on Instagram. She wanted to come as well. Can physical chemistry be built without sex? Sure. Absolutely. You can kind of get a gauge on physical chemistry by kissing, to be honest with you. It's not an apples to apples comparison, but you can get some data off of it. Absolutely. We're definitely gonna have a time though, for sure. Just have those passports ready and that liver in good condition. Miss Ty, you coming on the cruise? A good makeout sesh says a lot about a person. Agreed, brother. Agreed. We should be tapping. We used to get to 100K. We're going to get back to, we used to do that when CC used to come and give her a little speech. But CC likes to yap on her own live now, so I have to take that part over. But we'll do that next live. We'll put more of an emphasis on tapping. Sadly, some guys kiss like SpongeBob jellyfish. I ran into some women who also have no idea what they're doing. So, definitely is an issue though. Shawty told me I can tell you a real eater by the way I kiss. Real eater, huh? You just, now when you get, hopefully you got your HPV vaccination. You know, a lot of motherfuckers getting throat cancer because of that. So be careful. Be careful. That's the legitimate thing. A lot of guys are getting throat cancer for going down on women because they're contracting HPV. And a lot of women don't know they have HPV because it's like asymptomatic. And they don't really test for it unless you ask for the test. So be careful out there eating, buddy. Be careful with that appetite. See what Germany just said? I never heard of that. Yeah, be careful. Give me that Zatarans like CC. Hilarious. Hilarious. Get that HPV shot for sure. I mean, do what you want. I'm just saying get the HPV vaccination. Get that HPV vaccination, bro. Your parents ain't give it to you because they ain't know what the fuck it was back then. My parents certainly didn't. So get that to protect yourself because yeah. You want to be a munch. It's like the equivalent of putting on your bib, right? Cancer from body. Yeah, the HPV shit causes cancer. A lot of women, you can contract cancer that way with HPV. I'm just trying to make sure y'all protected, man. Michael Douglas got it from HPV. He was a real eater, huh? Michael Douglas said, "Come on over here, girl. You look delicious." So handle that, CJ. That's all I'm saying. You never know, especially you like using dating apps too. That's where HPV is born. That's where they make HPV. They make it on Hinge. So get it handled, brother. Do y'all like talk to people about being tested before y'all do the do? Well, damn, don't bestow that upon him. Sometimes you gotta scare people to do the right thing. Gotta just put a little fear in their heart a little bit. You can't expect it either, CJ. You can't see HPV unless it's like warts or something, but you can't just scan the coochie and be like, all right, I don't see any HPV in there. And I also skipped breakfast. Guess I'm going in. Folks gonna say they do, but they don't. I don't think people are really asking about like being tested before I don't think that happens. I had a woman ask me after the fact, like weeks later. I'm like, you kind of missed the mark there. But yes. Yes, testing because people are reckless. People are not afraid enough of STIs for me. They're not fearful enough of it. I think they Superman out here. You'll get got by some shit. For sure. Yes, Gen Z is asking for my chart. Cool. Cool. do, but I'm old school. Nice. Nice. Gotta be careful with my chart too, the AI on those. I didn't even consider that. I didn't even consider AI into my chart results. That's outrageous. I love asking people what is the full panel and how much it costs. That's your answer. Because they're guessing. Full physical exam, a mental evaluation. I'm with you. Yeah, you gotta stay safe out here. Cause these rates looking crazy. Looking crazy. Now, have we all deleted dating apps? Who, like, let's make sure. Y'all know I'm anti-dating app. Have we all deleted them? Or y'all still secretly using them? Gotta get the whole facts. Indeed. Let's not stop the likes, people. I see them hearts slowing down. Let's make sure we still double tapping that screen. Okay, so we're deleting the dating apps. Been deleted. Thank God. I'm so proud of you all. I'm assuming the people who did not answer are still actively using them. I downloaded all of them yesterday. CC, your man tripping in the chat. Since I was 22. How old are you now, Serena? Haven't in years. Good. Shivani's still on them, I think. Aren't you, Shivani? You found the love on the cruise? Hey, you just might. I told people to behave on in the Airbnb. I can't control the cruise. So I know folks might find some degree of a connection. There's people who take cruises just for that reason. Shit about the feast in India. I paused mine. Right. Think she about to hop on Hinge in India? That's what she did. She already hopped on Hinge and put it on India before she arrives. I remember when I went to Boise years ago. I had got on the app. That's when I was still using the apps. And put my location in Boise. The pressure I was matched with. I was like, fuck, I should have moved my location before I got here. I didn't know it was like this. Different environment. Different environment for sure. I was reflecting. All I want is an iPhone 17. For what? Is it that much better than the previous? I don't even know what kind of iPhone I have. I use phones till the wheels fall off. I don't really care about upgrading to the newest model. I'm never and will not be on a dating app. That's good. I'm glad to hear that, bro. So you never experienced it, though? Should I get in a long-distance relationship with someone on another continent? Absolutely. It's the best relationships you'll find. If you're not on the same landmass, phenomenal connection. I have logged on to see if dude was on it during a rough patch. How did you do? So you just kept clicking the X until you stumbled upon him? You were invested, weren't you? Invested. I don't think I would do that. That's a lot of time. Remember, I did match with a therapist one time who was where does she live? Where did she live? Where did that goofy chick live? I think it was Atlanta or somewhere. And she put her location in Raleigh. But her family was 2 hours away from Raleigh. I remember I asked her, I said, why did you put your location in Raleigh if you live in Atlanta? Because I have family in this city. No, but that's very far away from Raleigh. Why Raleigh though? really she broke up with her ex and she wanted to keep that door open, so she didn't want to date within her city and him find out about it, is what I gathered. She didn't tell me that, but it's just obvious answer. So she has plausible deniability as to why she's coming to North Carolina, because her family lives in North Carolina. I'm like, I don't like it. Don't like it one bit. It's very obvious what you're doing. Or she wanted to move closer to family. No. That's not what's going on. Woman had no intention of moving. All right, we got any last minute questions before I get off of here? And any of that information for the live is probably the priority right now over everything else we talked about. So let's try to figure that out sooner than later, if you don't mind. Any last minute questions before I dip out, people? Going once, going twice. So, okay, if you want coaching, you can DM me the word coach and I will send you a link to book your 1 hour coaching call. If you would like to watch the streams, the replay, you can do that on YouTube. Link in bios at The Signal Dating. And if you're new here, make sure to follow. I'll go live twice a day. I'll be live again tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern time. So if I didn't get to your question today, I will get to it then. Appreciate the mods, appreciate the chat. I will see you all tonight. Y'all take care.